Hello, I'm Jane. So, welcome to the drafting of our back bodice. Items needed are curves, our paper, tape measure, our pen in the measurements. Okay, so you leave 1 inch space at the top for any needed allowances. So as always, 1 inch at the top, then strike a straight line through. Then from there we leave 1 inch by the side as our zipper allowance. 1 inch. Okay. So guys, I'm using dotted lines because I'm going to contour the zip. You know, our back is not straight. It's curved in a way. So I'm going to give it an inch contouring to make sure that it sits well on the back, on the buttocks. So at the lower parts, you come in 1 inch, and then we are going to square it across to our measurement at the top. Okay, so we are taking our dress length of 16.5. Okay, so if you remember, when we were drafting the font, we used 17 and we added half, making it 17.5, and now we are doing 16.5 because we are reducing by 1 inch. Okay, that's 1 inch we used as bust dart for the front, and that's because our front and our back aren't same. Because of the bust, the front is a bit lengthier than the back. Okay, so now we are joining our zipper lines. So the first 1 inch, instead of going straight, it will curve to the edge of the paper. It will curve to the edge of the paper. And then where it was supposed to join, the initial point, that's where we are going to draw the second line into. Okay. So at the end of the day, there is a tilt in it to allow it to sit perfectly on the back. So from the top it comes straight, it curves to your lower back, and then it will curve in, and your buttocks will sit in. That's when we add a skirt, it will sit in perfectly. So now we are going to across back. So across back measurements, and then we are taking our neck measurement of 3 inches and then 1 inch below. Then we use our curve. Okay, so sorry, I just noticed you were not seeing from the top. So 3 inches on the horizontal and then 1 inch on the vertical, and then we come down by 1 inch to give a shoulder slant, and then we draw in our neck curve. Shoulders are not straight, so you come down 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches, depending on the body size that you're making the dress for. So from our shoulder point, we take 10.5 as our nipple point, our apex. Okay, and then square a straight line through. Now we are going to create a dot. Our apex to apex is 7, and so 3.5. Great, 3.5 here, and then we are giving it 1 inch dots. So we find the middle point of our measurement, which is ½ inch. So from the very edge of the paper, to that middle point, making 6 inches. Then we are going to locate 6 inches on our apex. If you don't do it this way and you start from the zipper, because the zipper is tilted, you're going to get a crooked dart. So you want a straight line. That's why we aided it with the edge of the paper. So now square across to create your dot. Okay guys, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop a comment for us. Thank you. Okay, so now we are going to take our body measurements. So our waist measurement, first you take 3.5 and then you stop at the dart, lift it to the last leg of the dart, and then take your 8 inches measurement. Great. Now we are going to add allowance on our paper. It's not going to be a flat pattern. So the same thing, we do the same thing for the bust, 9.25, and then we add our allowance 1.5, and then the space that the dart covered, you make sure you add it to it, otherwise it's going to reduce your pattern. The pattern size is going to reduce your body measurements, and at the end of the day the dress will not fit. Okay, so now we join our bust to our waist, and then we are going to create our chest line, 1.5 inches from the bust point. So you square across, and we take the same measurements, 9.25, the same measurement we have on our bust, 9.25 plus our allowance. And then when you are done, you measure the space that the dart has covered, you add it to it. This is a quarter, you add it to it. Always make sure the dart is not eating into your size measurements to avoid fitness issues after making the dress. Okay, so I placed my measurement at the wrong side, so let's do a correction. Okay, now from that point to our shoulder point, we are going to create a curve, but before that we are dividing that space into two. From the shoulder point to our nipple point, you divide into two, and then you look for your cross chest, which is 7, and you plot it there. Okay, so on this point we curve, we draw a curve. On the front pattern, the curve sits perfectly like a 6, but this time it's a bit slanted because usually the back bodice armhole comes out a bit while the sleeve goes in a bit. Okay, so now let's cut out our pattern. So guys, I decided I wasn't going to add any allowance to the armhole side, but when you're drafting yours, you can add ½ inch to it for your seam stitching. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop a comment for us. Thank you.